everyone. Welcome to Gen 224 Marriage. This is episode 22. We're cruising right along there.
Catch 22.
Yeah. We are Larry and Sue Pruitt, and we are here to help Christian married entrepreneurs build the business of their dreams without wrecking their marriage.
That's right. I was going to say it, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say it or not. So
we're experimenting. We'll settle on something eventually, how we're going to deliver our lines.
That's right.
So, but today we're going to talk about something kind of interesting. I think interesting we've gotten some questions, so we want to answer some questions.
We have, right.
So,
and I think that everybody knows that we are coaches, and it's one of those things where we don't ever want to be like salesy, though. Yeah. We don't want to just be like talking all the time about how we are coaches and, sign up now.
Right.
All that type of stuff.
So we're going to explain it here.
Right.
And then everybody who wants to learn about it, we'll go to this episode.
We'll point people back to episode 22 in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is in depends on how well this comes across. Right?
We may do this later.
But this is definitely in response to the questions that we've had. And so we just thought maybe we'll kind of clarify things just a little bit, be a little bit more bold and not go too far with this, but make sure that people understand a little bit more of what we're doing, right?
We want to give some clarity about what our program is like.
That's right. That's right. And so all of this is kind of started from the fact that we're teachers at heart.
Yes.
We are coaches at heart. And we've had a lot of experience in this over the years, starting with homeschooling.
Yeah, absolutely. We homeschooled for 24 years.
Let's just round up and say 25. That sounds cool.
We could say for basically a quarter of a century. That makes me feel really old.
We just really aged ourselves there. But yeah, so we really enjoyed that process for the most part.
Yeah.
Homeschooling the kids all the way through from our oldest. I mean, we didn't have any of the kids in any other school than at home.
No, we knew when we had our first baby that we were going to homeschool all the kids.
Yes, the first homeschool conference we went to, I think our oldest was 3
or 4. Yeah.
And you get so overwhelmed with all the options and everything. And now there's like a million more options than what there were back then.
Yes.
So that's kind of where things started. But then we also have had many opportunities to teach on the topic of marriage. And at our church, we've taught 3 different Sunday school classes, which each one lasted 15 weeks or something like that. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of fun to talk about what we taught on there.
Yeah.
The first one was just kind of in general. We just called it One Flesh. And we wrote the curriculum ourselves. I mean, it was all scripturally based. So we wrote the curriculum.
Yeah.
But we organized it.
There we go. Yeah.
And we went through a certain sequence and everything and just really had some great responses to that.
Yeah, we had some really amazing time. In fact, one of the men even approached you in the middle of class and said something kind of cool. And we were like, yes, that's what we're going for.
Yes, because really his response was, I'd say he would probably been married for 15 years or something at the time.
Something like that, yeah.
10 to 15 years. And he'd grown up in church and everything. And he said, I've always heard these Bible verses and I've always kind of understood them and everything. But after the class, he said, now I know how to do it.
Yes.
And that's really what we go for in all of our teaching and coaching is, yes, we want to get to the head knowledge of things, but we want to get to the heart and help people understand how to apply.
Right. Practical application is really kind of a watchword for us in the way that we teach.
Yeah.
Because we want somebody to know what to do when they've heard what we have shared.
Yeah. Because otherwise, what good does it do, right? Really?
Not much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we taught a class that we called it One Flesh 2.
I don't remember the exact title of the class.
That's what I called it. But we tackled the topics of money and sex.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So 2 important topics for married couples.
Kind of give those a little bit more focus because those tend to be areas that married couples have the most opportunity to navigate difficulties and become overcomers. How's that?
Man, you framed that one well. The opportunity to overcome obstacles.
Yes.
Very positive.
I
Thank you
didn't
there.
realize the
Like that.
alliteration I was doing there, but that was
I
kind of
know.
cool. My pastor would be proud.
Should we write a book on that title? With that
No,
title?
no.
Um,
Well, not today.
oh,
Let's
okay.
finish this first.
Yes. So hit pause and come back when we're done. And then the third class was, I think that was that was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
That one was a marriage class for single young people
Yes.
in our church.
Mhm.
And that kind of came from a lot of the young people. They wanted to join the marriage class, but we really wanted the marriage class for married couples
Mhm.
so that we could have some open conversations there and such. But we're like, why can't we teach this?
Yeah.
And really, so much is done in our society. I'll get on my soapbox just for a second, but so much is done in our society of telling young people certain things about, but certain things about marriage, but really not ever taking the lid off and really
Yeah.
explaining
Mhm.
what it's all about and really how to prepare for it.
Yes, that was our goal,
Yes.
to help them prepare well.
And then just on the other side of that, a lot of times there's some level of premarital counseling for married couples, and obviously some better than others. And then you get married and it's like just good luck.
Yeah,
You're on
right,
your own now.
right. Mhm.
And so that's part of our heart's desire, is to help married couples after the premarital counseling, after they've said, I do. And then, again, kind of the reality kicks in sometimes.
Mhm.
And like, I didn't know to expect this, that, or the other thing. And just to help married couples, even who've been married 10, 20, 30,
Mhm.
40 years.
Yeah, we had some people in our
yeah.
our first and second class who had been married for several
Oh.
decades.
Yeah.
That was
Lot
kind of
longer
fun.
than us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
It was a lot of
So
fun.
that's kind of where we got started with all of this. And I remember at the end of the very first class that we taught, somebody approached us and said, what's next? You're going to take this on the road? Or, what are you going to do with it? And we're just like, we got nothing.
Yeah.
This was just, we were working really hard at getting through those 4 months, I guess, that we taught. And so here's what's next.
Yeah, so that's the background.
It's 10 years
to
later.
Yeah, so 10 years later, we're like, oh, this is next. And so now we're doing this new thing.
Yes. And so this is, I think everybody talks about this as a passion, a desire, probably overused, but I don't know what else to call it. I mean, this
Yeah.
really is, it's our calling. It's what we do. It's who we are.
Yeah,
And
it's what we were created to do.
yeah. And so we would love to help as many couples as possible. And so what we've started, and again, we want this to be evergreen. So at no matter whatever time somebody is watching or listening to
Mhm.
this, we're going to be in the middle of one of these group coaching experiences. And we're going to have another one in the works that's going to be coming up soon. All right.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so we are doing a group coaching cohort.
Mhm.
All right. So
Yeah.
you want to explain to people what that is if they don't understand?
You want me to explain the actual cohort, or do you want me to explain?
No, just what is a group
Oh, what is a
coaching?
group coach?
Yes.
So we're going to bring in probably 5 to 10 couples.
Mhm.
And so it's going to be a pretty small, intimate group. And we're going to be walking you down what we call the 224 pathway. And we're going to be helping you to gain clarity, to get confidence in moving forward, know what your goals are. We talk about many times we help couples who they already have a business together and they want to make it full time. They want to leave their day job, which is something you got to do
Yes.
12 years ago
Mhm.
at the time of this recording. And so we help them kind of figure out how to prepare for that financially, mentally, emotionally, prepare the family, the children, you as a couple. It's a lot of fun. And we just walk people to the place that they know exactly what they're doing. They have goals for when they're going to be doing it. And they understand what their roles are in the business. That's another big one
Yes,
that we talk
absolutely.
about.
Boundaries and roles. Yeah.
Yes. And so we help them to get to the place where they're able to move forward and build that business of their dreams.
And so all this is very foundational. And I would say every married couple, business owners who are business owners need this.
Yeah.
Because it just makes everything else easier.
It
right?
does. Yeah.
It makes everything else possible. Because if you have problems at the relationship level, it's just going to be really hard to grow a business.
Yeah, and
sustain a business.
one of the things that people run into is they've kind of, developed or created or, worked into the roles that they play at home. Not
Yes.
play, but, fulfill at home.
Yes.
That's a better word, fulfill.
Yeah.
And sometimes those roles transfer over to the business and they fulfill a similar role in the
Yes.
business, but sometimes their giftings are such in the business that they need to fulfill different roles or a different combination of roles in the business. And we help them figure out, how do you create roles for yourselves within your business that will help you to maximize and grow your business, and it doesn't wreck your marriage. Because if you're doing something in the business that that's not really your strength, it can really harm the marriage, because money fights are a big thing. Fights over how the business should be run and that kind of thing can be a really big deal to people working together, and we want to help avoid those situations.
So we really kind of what we're talking about is putting systems into place.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
You said it much more succinctly.
Yes. That's kind of the
See,
summary
sometimes
version of
I'm
it.
pithy and sometimes you're pithy. That's good.
And just to kind of go back to like why a group coaching experience, because we've done this one-on-one or two-on-two, I guess. And that has worked really well, actually. But we've had a great opportunity to be a part of group coachings as students on, various different topics. And we just really enjoy that atmosphere. As we'll have a certain leader of the group, of course, and that person is kind of the expert in there. But it is amazing to me the insight that you get from your co-students in that, and how everybody just kind of jumps in and helps everybody else.
Right. They all have something different to offer. In fact, I think that's been one of the things that has been good for me, because I've said this many times. I don't think I have a business brain. And so I feel like I'm always, learning and, trying to figure things out. But then we get in this situation where we're in a cohort, in a group of students, and somebody says something and I realize, oh, I think I know the answer to that. And I've been able to help and contribute. And so it's kind of a confidence booster for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of times it's just, you say you don't have a business mind. I think you do. But it's more, sometimes it's just good old fashioned common sense, or your opinion on something. Like, hey, if I phrase things this way, how does that come across? Like, oh, I don't think that's coming across for what you're looking for. And here's substitute a word here or there. And so you don't need an MBA to be able to do that, And so kind of what we see happening in these group coaching experiences, I'm calling it, is that you get this group of like-minded people. And I don't know about other people who are watching or listening here, but I know sometimes it just gets really frustrating whenever you're talking to non-entrepreneurs about who you are and what you're doing and what you're going through. And you can just see that they just don't get it. And then you're like, I don't blame them for not getting it. But it's still frustrating.
Yeah, it's difficult to find a way to bridge that gap. And sometimes you just kind of say, well, I'm going to give up on that for now. Yes. I'm not going to be able to today.
So to have a group of 5 to 10 couples plus us in this cohort, and you can just see that everybody kind of understands you. There's at that level, you don't have to explain, who you are and what you're doing and everything. I mean, we'll get into the details of your particular business model and such, but there's just kind of a foundational understanding and respect for one another that is in that group. And it's just very special. So hopefully we kind of made that point of why we are doing that. But I think let's talk about like maybe who this would be a good fit for.
Oh, sure.
And then we could talk about what this is not and then what it is.
Yeah.
So you want to tackle that?
Oh, I thought you were going to have me do it. So I was taking my breath so I could talk.
Go ahead. Go for it.
So we serve married couples who run a business together. And those couples oftentimes are looking for they obviously want to grow the business. They obviously might have some concerns about their marriage. They want to keep the marriage strong. And so we want to serve those couples who want to grow. We always say this at the beginning, right? We help you grow your dream business without wrecking your marriage. So you want to keep the marriage strong. You want to grow the business, make it strong, keep it strong. And we help you know how to do that.
Right. So if that describes you, then we would love to talk to you further about the possibility. If it doesn't describe you, you probably know somebody that it does describe. And we'd love to have you refer them to us. We even have what I think is a very generous affiliate program. And feel free to reach out, and we'll get you that special link that'll be just for you to send to your friends or family that you know that this would be a good fit for. So yeah, if you want to, husband and wife running a business together, you want to grow that business, you want to do it in a way that actually strengthens your marriage, then that's who we want to serve.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So then I do want to clarify a couple things though, because there has been some confusion.
Yeah. And
so-
sometimes when you describe something, it helps to describe what it's not.
Yes. So this is not marriage counseling.
Right.
All right. So this is not
We're not licensed therapists.
We're not licensed therapists. We don't want to go there. We can definitely refer people to some really good counseling
Resources.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that's the word you were looking for.
I was trying to think businesses, no, not really, but yeah, resources.
Yeah.
So we could definitely refer you or someone you know to someone who could get some help.
And to be honest, sometimes the sessions are therapeutic, but just
yes,
we're not therapists. So
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so, we've just heard people say like, well, my marriage is fine, so I don't need help. Well, if your marriage is fine, that's exactly who we want, because we want to go from fine to excellent, and not just good. Even if you say I've got a great marriage, awesome. It can always get better.
Absolutely.
And definitely
none of us are Jesus yet. So
well, we're never going to be Jesus.
We're never going to be Jesus, but we're not Christ-like yet. 100%. There's always room for improvement.
Yes.
And we can help you improve.
So it's not marriage counseling. And that's why we were very clear about we are coaches, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this is also not any sort of a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not an MLM. We're not trying to sell a certain business model. We're wanting to come alongside you in your business to help to boost that.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is also, and I think we've kind of explained this, this is not just us teaching or lecturing.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just something that you could just sit down and watch a video of.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be very interactive. There's going to be workshops. It's going to be, again, the students coming together and helping each other along the way. So it's going to be, that's why I kind of I keep coming back to the group experience because it's more than just a webinar that you're going to attend once a week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And well, you just said it, it's a weekly thing.
Right.
We're going to get together once a week and do the session together. And then we'll have some interaction via our group, our community. We'll have some interaction between sessions there. And we will give support. Obviously you guys will give support to each other. And
so there is a, like you mentioned, the pathway that we have. So it is structured. All right. So it's not just us sitting around just, flapping our gums. All right. Yeah. So there is structure to it. There will be some things that we have everybody watch ahead of time. So everybody's kind of working on things and we're on the same, like this week there's a certain topic and then next week it'll be another topic. We'll have, we said weekly. So it's really just more than just the once per week, because there'll be a separate time where there'll be a Q&A session that we will do, because we want everybody to be able to follow along and keep up with the pace that things are going on and
get help where it's needed.
Get help where it's needed. Yeah. Sure. And then that separate community that we're going to have where people can come in and day in and day out have conversation
Yeah.
and such there.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that explained it pretty well, what it is not and what it is. And so kind of our stated goals for anybody who comes through this is to walk away with, you mentioned clarity.
Mhm.
You've said that a couple of
Mhm.
times, but clarity on where you want to go
Yeah.
and what steps you need to take to get there.
Mhm.
It's always fun for us to talk to people about what are your dreams? What are your
Mhm.
goals here?
Mhm.
And we should all have those. And many times, we're kind of what we're hearing from people is, I want to start making some money. I want to pay the bills.
Yeah.
I want to,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
that's all fine and good, but we want to stretch you beyond that level for
And
sure.
give you like hope that it's worth it to dream. I mean,
Yes.
I've even been through that
Yeah,
at times,
sure.
been like, I don't even know how to dream anymore because I've been so entrenched, in the trenches,
Yeah.
working things, just trying to work hard and make the business successful, that I forget to stop and think about what do I want in the future and what do I want ahead. And it's so important to have that, or you
Yes.
don't have, there's nothing propelling you forward.
Yes.
And so we don't want you to experience that anymore.
And we'll definitely give you tools that will help you to make sure that you're dreaming the same dream.
Yes.
You're on
Oh,
the
yeah.
same page with that, because that can be a real area of conflict if
Mhm.
husband's going one way, the wife's going another way.
Absolutely. Mhm.
So we need to bring that together, and sometimes that takes a little bit of work
Mhm.
and such there. So
And all of that comes from having a deeper connection as a
yes,
couple. And that's definitely something that we foster in our sessions and with
yes,
the things that the assignments that we give and things like that. Um, just that it's the connection that you thought you were going to have when you got married. What when you got married, you said, here's the person I'm going to be connected with for the rest of my life. And you expected a deep connection, and we want to help you achieve that and maintain it.
And one of the ways that we do teach that will help you to get that connection is just to understand each other better.
Yes.
And we've talked about that a little bit in some previous episodes here. Um, it's just tough sometimes. It's like, I don't understand how
Mhm.
my spouse is thinking. Like, I don't understand, how, why, whatever. And I'm not saying that we can 100% solve that, but we do have some tools and resources that are going to
Mhm.
really help, so that I'll just say you will understand each other better.
Mhm.
Not
Yeah.
100%, but
Yeah.
much better
Mhm.
than what you do right now.
And I think something else that's important to say, we haven't said it yet in this episode. Hopefully it's been obvious if you've been listening to our podcast and been reading our emails and things, that we are Christians. And so there is, that's not a requirement to join the program, but there is a lot of talk about the Bible, talk about,
Yeah.
what I would call Christianese, Christian language. So,
I'd say
being
biblical principles
biblical
is
principles,
really
yeah.
a good way to
Mhm.
leave that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Being comfortable with that to some extent will be helpful. I mean, honestly, the principles work whether you're a believer or not. They're solid principles and they work. But we will talk about them from that worldview.
Mhm.
So
That's good to point
want you
out
to
for
know
sure.
what you're coming into.
Yes. Yes. And so just to kind of, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add as far as like what the coaching program is.
I think the other thing that I think you've alluded to it already, but that community that you feel with the group
Yes.
that you're going through it with, some friendships will probably be born. People who will be cheering for you, and you'll be cheering for them into the future for success and for a strong marriage. And that community is just another piece that is really such a blessing from being a part of the program.
Yes, absolutely. So, okay. So hopefully this is kind of cleared up some of this of what we are working on and what we are doing. And again, what it is not, but what it is. So that way you know what you're getting into if you pursue this any further. So if you are interested, I would say that the next best step is we'll put a link to scheduling a free coaching call with us in the show notes. And so the best way to kind of, I just say, go for a trial run to test us out a little bit.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
happy to do that, to provide some genuine content for you on a free coaching call. And so you can come to us, we'll get some information from you, we will help in any way that we can. And then at that stage, you can decide if you want to pursue it further or not. But we want to provide that value to you. And we literally just have this strong desire to help people and help, in particular, married couples who are entrepreneurs. So we would love to have you get onto our schedule for that free coaching call.
Very good. I think that's a good explanation.
All
I
right.
think you did a good job.
Very good. Well, reach out with any questions. You can always email us as well. I'll put our email address in the show notes as well. So if you're like, I want to hear a little bit more, but I don't want to get on your calendar yet, you can even email us, and we're happy to communicate that way. So I think that's a wrap for this episode. If you, well, I've already said that. If you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah.
And in the meanwhile, as we go into our outro,
Yes.
continue to live as one flesh today,
Tomorrow, forever.
Take care.
See ya.